few new picks. I was going to talk about Sejuani for Diamond not being a new pick, but more one that you can take now that Jarvan has been nerfed a little bit and Sejuani is somewhat getting better because of that. But H2K are saying, well, Diamond, Italy, Sejuani, that's gone. Obviously, a Rek'Sai first pick is going to come from H2K unless Gambit bans it away.
Yeah, it's very possible at this point. You can see Pinoy's getting comfortable in that chair. The Sivir, the Annie banned away for Gambit Gaming. There are the coaches taking their time. Let's see what H2K bans last. They have one more available, and they take away Zed from Betsy.
So if Gambit does not ban Rek'Sai now, they give it over to H2K, and then we know exactly... Okay. Well, it is banned instead.
I think you predicted that correctly, yeah.
Then we suddenly go back to the likes of Lissandra as a potential first pick. Ahri is open. LeBlanc, now that Kassadin is kind of off the table and Zed is banned, suddenly LeBlanc becomes a bit of a power pick in that mid lane we see often here in Europe. But we also have to look at the likes of Gnar and Maokai for Odoamne. Not his first picks, maybe the Gnar, but he's undefeated when he's playing Gnar and Maokai. He's so good in tanks. Whenever he's playing Lissandra, it's kind of meh, I'm gonna say. He's still good on it, but not as good as when he's playing these big frontline tanks. It's really been the way for him, and that means, from Gambit's side, you have to be careful what you take in the early picks, because you don't want to allow H2K to take like a Maokai in the last rotation, which will then work perfectly into whatever combo you just pick, like a burst combo or whatever, the Maokai just shuts down completely. So you always have to worry about the Maokai trap. I know Leviathan likes to call it, and I'm sure they're aware of it. We mentioned the Ahri before. Now that there's been a few mid lane bans, and obviously LeBlanc could also been the option for them, could be the response for Betsy. But this is simply taking mid laners away from Betsy alone. Because he's played Ezreal, that was like 1-0-2 performance, basically. He didn't really do anything in that game. That was the first game he played on stage. Then he's played Zed and Ahri every other game, and he's been great on them. You ban the Zed, you get the Ahri because the Rek'Sai was banned by Gambit. Suddenly now you target him, and he's champion pool.
Yeah, and it's also been one of Ryu's more successful champions across the board. So it makes a lot of sense to accomplish just the double whammy there. Let's see what Gambit Gaming answers with. Both teams really so far taking their time on the pick and ban timer. Yeah,
Morgana has been a massive pick for Gambit. It can be played in mid lane, in top lane, and in support, so you don't really tilt too much when you lock it in. And what they have done before is take like Morgana early, and then take the likes of a Kennen as the last pick, and then swap Morgana to support, and then somewhat surprise them. In this game, though, oh well, for now, we're not going to get Morgana. Instead, this Tristana. We've seen it before, last week against Rocket. It was not a pretty game from Gambit, but they did manage to win it. And once they grouped in the late game, it took Pinoy about 2 seconds to destroy a tower, because you can put your E, the new Tristana, obviously, you can put the E on the tower, 4 hits or 3 hits, max charge, explodes, damage to the tower as well, you destroy them.
Comes in like a wrecking ball, that's for sure. Gambit Gaming. They've got their bot lane fleshed out. We could still see the Morgana. I want to see if H2K decide to pick it up. It was that old Thresh counter. It's a possibility. KaSing has been kind of the king of these initiations, and Morgana can enable those. You hit those bindings the way you want to. Let's see what they take here, though.
And we really see for both teams here, they try to take away from the new guy. KaSing, it's all about Thresh and Annie for him, mainly. Annie's banned. Ahri first pick. Okay, we take a Thresh. We don't take Morgana in this round here because we want to get this support pick for Eddie to deny it from KaSing. And that simply means Morgana, who would have fit in perfect with Tristana to fast push down towers, Black Shield and her, she will destroy them. Pinoy still chilling around.
He is very relaxed about this.
I mean, he already got his AD carry, man.
He's good. He's good to go. In H2K side, yeah, loulex is going to go ahead and go with the Jarvan this time again.
Oh, no. Come on, go Victor.
You wanted to see the Victor, huh?
It's been played, obviously, a few times in career.
Yeah?
By G Tigers. Hopefully we can see it at IM Katowice as well.
Oh yeah, coming up.
Yeah.
Featuring this team too, Gambit Gaming.
For sure. Let's see what they can do and if they are able to keep the winning streak. 7-0 now.
Well, they've got to keep it going now if they want to carry it into Katowice.
They started 0-5. Then Leviathan came in and the team really started working well together. Obviously Betsy joined in later once they already won 3 games, but now 7 games in a row. If they beat H2K, they have Giants tomorrow who just lost to MYM. Then we're suddenly looking at 9-0, and we have that 13-5 the dream.
Oh!
Gambit.
They do lock in the Evelyn. This is what they were talking about with some different kind of stuff. Okay. And we see the Lulu.
So I think Evelyn jungle is pretty trash, but if there's any
if
there's any jungler who can pull it off, it's Diamond, who used to be a fantastic Evelyn player. She did have a small buff, I think we can say. Some would argue it might be a nerf coming in where your E now is 2 strikes that apply on hit effects. So let's say you start a Crooks, which I would expect from him. You smite that one, so you get this, obviously the 2 auto attacks or the auto attacks for the stuns. And you then have their E to give this double auto attacks, so you charge up the stun a bit faster from the Crooks. And that allows you to jungle a little bit better early on. I think that's one of the things we're gonna see from Diamond. And then he needs to get to late game on this Evelyn here. Still, fairly strong damage-wise later on. I would expect also some like AP from him, maybe AP tank or just pure AP. We're gonna have to see what he will do. Exciting at least with a new jungler. Yeah,
that's for sure. I don't think H2K expected that one. They will complete their lineup with a Corki and a Maokai. So Odoamne will be on that tanky initiator. Once again, Gambit still have an option. They can send the Lulu top if they want to, or they can keep it mid for Betsy. Let's see what they do here. There still are a lot of assassins available on the field, and Betsy does like to play them.
And we mentioned this Maokai trap beforehand. H2K loves to take it in one of the last rotations where they see, okay, how much damage or what kind of damage is there on Gambit's side? It's a lot of burst damage, then we take Maokai into it. We use the ulti to kind of like nullify their burst coming in, and he can stay alive. In this case, because this is going to be it's going to be what we would assume a Lulu mid lane, and then a carry top lane for Cabochard. Kennen has been a big pick for him in the past, but with Lulu mid lane, it's very easy for Maokai to dive onto the Tristana, who's going to be the main damage dealer late, and kind of like shut him down or try and remove him from the fight, because Lulu herself is not going to solo kill targets. It's going to be all about Pinoy, and now it's also going to be about this Kennen, who sadly is somewhat countered by Maokai in the team fights because of that big ulti, because you can lock him down before he even gets into a team if you have no flash. So Gambit in a little bit of a tricky spot because of that Maokai coming in, but a full late game Tristana can take care of business.
That's very true. And I'm still really wanting to see what they do with this jungle Evelyn too. We haven't seen quite so many of the stealth champions really make their way back around LCS-wise lately. And you know, that element of surprise is very, very valuable. You mentioned there were a couple of those buffs. See if that's considered to be enough. I know you may not believe in it, but well, I mean, again, Diamond, he is the guy that can make things work that should not.
If I saw Evelyn in my solo queue game, I would be a little bit worried and say, okay, let's see what happens. But when Diamond is picking it, I trust in Diamond to do well.
So if you see Diamond in your solo queue game, what do you do?
Well, then I say, hallelujah, LP for me.
All right. I suppose that's confidence right there.
Sadly, I'm not really up with Diamond yet.
I'll have to give it some time. Yeah. So, yeah, these have been fully fleshed out. Can't wait to see how this one happens going on. There we go. Handshakes all around from Leviathan and Prawley as they walk off the stage to get this one started. This is going to be a different kind of game. We'll see if Gambit Gaming keeps that streak or if it's H2K. That's going to be interesting to see.
Fairly standard comps for the two teams, except for maybe the Evelyn. Yeah. We can talk about that in game, because obviously now you guys need to go to Twitter.
Yeah, tell us, what do you think? Who's going to keep their streak alive? Tweet us at LOL Esports with H2K win or GMB win. I hope you're as pumped as the crowd here, because we're getting on stage for H2K versus Gambit Gaming.
7-0 Gambit, 6-0 H2K. Undefeated with KaSing so far in the LCS. Can Gambit be the first team to shut him down? Because he's really been fantastic for the H2K guys.
Oh yeah, completely revitalized them, it seems. And you know, their sync, their synergy week over week has just shown so much improvement. A lot of credit to Odoamne for really stepping up to these big
MVP last week.
Bruisers. Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic on Maokai 2 games. He's gone for it yet again. Cabochard's got his work cut out for him, especially if they opt for standard lanes.
And the thing is, H2K's comp. First of all, you have a decent level 1 because you have a Morgana in itself, the binding. If you do manage to catch someone like Cabochard or force a flash, could be the case.
Go for it.
But their combi is super standard for them. You have Odoamne on a tank. He's undefeated on Maokai, undefeated on Gnar. He needs to be in their front line. We heard probably talk about the engage onto Gambit. Well, you have Jarvan, you have Maokai as well to do that. Rio and Ahri, standard champion for him. Very strong laning phase, strong mid-game, strong all around, honestly. And then you have Hjarnan here, who can do well in the laning phase on a Corki, get level 6, get towards the Trinity Force, and then they like to use him to simply early push down towers. If he takes the bottom lane, well, then he goes straight to the top lane, he pushes in that one, and that's where Corki is perfect with his Trinity Force, where barely any AD carries, especially not a Tristana, can hold him off, and he will be able to pressure you and take your tower if you don't send more guys up there to defend. So H2K, super standard comp for them. They know exactly how to play it.
Yeah, and they have already preempted the lane swap by making moves up there themselves. They should be able to spot this one. Well-placed ward sees Eddie and Pinoy, and they're going to actually ping out on Hjarnan on the side of Gambit. So everybody knows this is happening. We got the double lane swap going down. loulex and Odoamne are going to jungle buddy it up for the red buff.
Yeah, so they see the dual lane from Gambit on the top side with these early wards they're placed, and they keep the, obviously, support and AD carry there to get the 2-on-2 lane. Still take the red buff, so they were basically setting up for, if Gambit had been on the bottom side with Eddie and Pinoy, well, you would have started the red buff anyway to secure red and blue for yourself, and not risk getting invaded on by all the members from Gambit on the bottom side. And now they managed to sneak it anyway. Diamond, of course, is aware of it, and he should be able to go for the red buff himself. Let's see if loulex is going straight for him, or if he's happy just trading standard buffs. Seems like he will be happy just doing walls for himself, so Diamond can get a red buff for himself now.
He certainly can. They will be able to trade it out if they want. Diamond, so we had an opportunity to go mid, decided, okay, definitely got a chance. He's able to poke this one out, or at least drag it into a safer area thanks to the hate spikes. And loulex throws down the rest of the wolves as he completes his jungle route, or starts to complete his jungle route, rather. Eddie and Pinoy are actually pushed quite far in, and this isn't that surprising, considering how low-powered the Tristana lane is early on.
After the changes to Tristana, she got even weaker in the laning phase. And she really needs to get like a BF sword before she can start trading damage effectively, because her E is now an AD ratio. So for that one to really start working for her.
Yeah. Pinoy didn't seem too worried about it at the start of the game. No, he was lounging a bit.
And it's been a thing for Gambit. They don't really care too much about how the bottom lane does in a 2-on-2 situation. It's a lot more about Betsy and Cabochard in the laning phase. And that's one of the reasons we always see Diamond put so much focus on Cabochard especially. He's been one of the big carries for them, and this top lane jungle synergy has been great. Really been paying off. A lot of teams have fallen simply behind because they try and fight them and they just end up getting outplayed. Cabochard gets a big lead, Diamond gets a big lead, and they use that to snowball. They kind of just leave Pinoy and AD to do their own thing in the 2-on-2.
And they trust them too, that's what's important. When you only have to go between the two solo lanes, it's not a long transit time. You can optimize your routes, and they really just trust Pinoy and Edward to really not necessarily make the early plays, but to stay alive in lane.
And your solo laners are strong enough players to carry if they do get a lead, which has been the big deal for Gambit. Really, really strong individually. This time around, though, they have Lulu mid lane, so this is a big change for Betsy from the Ahri Z we normally see, which would tell me we see less focus on the mid lane, as it's not that important to snowball the Lulu. And then potentially maybe Diamond going up and helping his dual lane get that Tristana rolling. Otherwise, it's going to be all about Cabochard and Kennen. We've seen it before. He gets a great start. He takes over the game.
Oh, yes, indeed. Edward and Pinoy still poking away, grabbing the farm that they can here and there. Really keeping up quite well in CS versus this lane of Hjarnan and KaSing, who haven't really had too much of a chance to make some plays. KaSing now, though, is going on the roam. He should be able to pop down a few deep wards if he wants. Looks like he throws it down at the Krugs.
And we're going to have to see if Gambit can survive this mid-game. Coming in from H2K when you have Ahri, when you have the Corki, to really start grouping up and having so much poke damage and all-in like team fighting potential from their side, where Tristana needs more time before she becomes effective. Kennen needs to get his hourglass as well before we're really going to see him join the fights, and typically, especially into like double AP, and in this case 2.5 almost with the Corki, we normally see Abyssal Scepter first from a Kennen, then into an hourglass. So there's 2 items needed for Odoamne. We know the Evelyn needs to go late game as well to really be effective. So for Gambit here, if they get a standard super slow early game where they can just sit and farm, that's heavily in their favor, as long as they don't fall too far behind to H2K's strong mid game through this Corki Ahri.
Key, if they don't fall behind, that's kind of the point there. So H2K is going to be the ones looking to make sure that they have the edge in that one. So far, both the junglers have been relatively quiet. loulex is going to wander through this river and find that there's a pink ward there just for the taking. Diamond has been looking for an angle. He's been pretty unseen by this team, but that might be about to change. loulex just outside the range. There we go. He's going to get the vision proc. Hate spikes thrown down. The flag, though, does go wide. Diamond will be able to get away. Expecting
a little juke from Diamond. Didn't happen. We see the skirmishes for him on Evelyn here. So really looking to find loulex and like duel him one-on-one. That 20% damage reduction to true damage as well for him. So he's looking to be aggressive. Not just sitting back and farming with a Trailblazer on Evelyn. Despite her having a fairly weak jungle clear, she drops pretty low. But Diamond so far has been doing a good job farming.
Yeah, he's definitely been keeping up here with this much more conventional pick from loulex. So KaSing continuing to roam around and try to grab wards where he can. You can see Hjarnan actually hanging around alternating between pushing on the tower. And yeah, you look at Diamond, that it gets so low when he does do his full clears, but he's able to make it out alive, and there hasn't been a lot of retribution from loulex at all, who's actually hanging out in the bottom side trying to bait out Cabochard.
Basically, loulex is saying, I know you want to gank this bottom lane, and my laner is now pushing it. So you can see how Odoamne is pushing the wave all the way up to the tower. So in case he was there all on his own and Diamond had been healthy, Gambit could set up a fairly easy gank onto him, like force a flash. That's why loulex is going down to the bottom lane. It's not to gank Cabochard, it's just to wait. If there's a potential gank, he can counter gank. And then he just starts recalling, goes back to his clear, said, okay, the lane has now been somewhat reset. Minions are meeting in the middle now, which means my jungle or my top laner is now safe. I can back away. So that's all he's doing. He's respecting the fact that Gambit likes to put so much focus on the top lane. Meanwhile, these bottom lanes have just been fighting quite a lot. We see this BF sword coming in, and suddenly Pinoy, he wants to trade now. The AD ratio is fairly good on the E, and he can start taking fairly good fights.
Hjarnan found that out firsthand, so Edward also the ever-present threat. He does manage to land those hooks. It could be dangerous for this very squishy bottom lane. loulex is going to find another pink with the help of Ryu. Well, Diamond keeps on clearing. They do spot him out with that ward, but they're not interested in diving on him.
Oh my god, he's level 6 now. Going towards the Magus enchant on his skirmishes. And then I wonder if we're going to see him go towards the likes of a Rylai's maybe, if he wants to be a little bit tanky. Because if you look at Gambit's comp here, there's not really any front line. Thresh is a support who's more focused on peeling for his carries than being in the front. Kennen obviously will dive in with the Hourglass. But if H2K times that correctly and disengages when Kennen goes in, or engages onto the Kennen itself, then suddenly Gambit doesn't have anything in the front to protect their carries. And the two tanks, Jarvan and Maokai from H2K, will have a fairly easy time then diving onto Pinoy, diving onto Betsy in the fight itself. So it's going to be a lot more about kiting around for Gambit and then trying to use these big AoE ultis from like Evelyn and Kennen to zone. But now Diamond is
got to stay alive first. Yeah, they're going to get away from it just for a moment, but they are in a little bit of trouble. So teleport comes in to save the day. Cabochard moves in on Odoamne. They've got a lot of damage, and it looks like that is going to be first blood. It goes to Cabochard, but wait, there we go. He's going to throw down his own ultimate as Ryu missed the charm, but still finds the damage. loulex answers with a kill onto Cabochard. Now Diamond in hot pursuit of both. Can he pick them up with a hate spike? Flag and drag. He's got no more mana, as you said. And they will make their great escape. Top laners traded.
So quite a fight here in the mid lane. Teleport's coming in. Will teleport from Cabochard. Odoamne, he roamed from the bottom lane up there. Ends up trading 1-for-1. Both top laners dying. And H2K instantly leaving this top lane, rotating down to the mid lane, start pushing in, knowing that Gambit is fairly low after the fight. Get a few hits on the tower. And Odoamne, because he had the teleport that Cabochard didn't, could instantly join the top lane. Should be able to push in the wave as well before anyone shows up. Nice little move here by H2K. Really using that TP advantage. Getting a bit of extra farm and XP.
Yeah. They were able to do just that. Now Ryu loulex continue to roam together for just a moment. This time it might be for the purpose of picking that blue buff up. However, that is the case. So Odoamne has really been unchallenged, even now that he's swapped up to the top. How well is he going to fare in this 1v2 situation? Because he's still just sitting on the Catalyst and the double Dorans. I feel like the positioning from Pinoy and Edward is going to be too good for him to really take advantage of.
Oh, he won't be able to kill them or anything. He's just going to basically farm. That's it. And even for Gambit, if they had kept Eddie on the top side, you invest a lot of resources onto one lane at once and completely giving up control of the bottom side of the map, which means H2K should be able to set up a fairly easy dragon. So that's why Eddie is not showing himself in the top lane. Instead, he's going down here. Pinoy can handle himself in a one-on-one. Remember, you want to get this Tristana fed. Average Blade has been picked up after BF Sword, so he's aiming to kind of like lunge towards the 2-item spike, Infinite Edge, Static Shift. So they leave him in the one-on-one, give him a level advantage as well, and you keep 4 guys on the bottom side of the map, so you don't have to give up an easy dragon to H2K.
Exactly. They bring Edward down to the bottom. He's going to land the hook, but it was black shielded very quickly. And they are going to wander out of lane after that. loulex continuing to rove around and try to clear as many pink wards as he can. He does get the one. And he's getting pinged out by Gambit.
We also see Cabochard here not going for that business. Oh, KaSing.
He flays him into the box. KaSing has a big bite out of his health taken, but the second wind here from H2K. is going to be quite a lot, and they pull Cabochard out of the range of the Dark Binding.
You can see how Cabochard was like, oh, should I go in or not? Can I kill this support here? But because Diamond was on the top side of the map, he was farming the crooks, and there's no flash for Cabochard, he played it safe and smart, and he stayed back and said, okay, I'm not going to risk anything, because there's such a high chance of loulex being nearby, and that was a good call by him, not going all in for it. Will still be Dragon for H2K, as Diamond was not around the bottom side, so they will get it anyway. Obviously no teleports from either of the top laners.
Yeah.
Would have been weird for Cabochard anyway.
Yeah.
On the bottom side.
Would have been quite a short distance, but yeah, Gambit, I feel like that was just kind of not necessarily, they played it very safely. H2K just had a better timing on the Drake. They were able to take advantage of the fact that Diamond wasn't anywhere around. Not only was he on the top side, but he backed away. So they were able to get that well-secured Dragon. But now Gambit is focusing on this bottom side. Diamond is coming in. Neither team knows this is a 3v3, however, but if loulex does back away, then the table's turned.
Because he's recalling H2K again, say fine. We're just going to play it safe. What these teams are doing here is, whenever you play against Evelyn, because it's so hard to spot her normally, you always think to yourself, okay, she's in my lane right now. I'm not going to go aggressive if I don't know I have my backup ready. So as loulex were recalling from the bottom side, basically we saw Hjarnan and KaSing say, okay, we expect Evelyn to be here, we have to respect the fact she could be. So we just simply go back to our own tower once we clear the wave. Don't want to risk any stupid fights, don't want to try and snowball Gambit suddenly. So that's all they're doing. And what H2K did before as well with that Dragon that was so smart is, you know that when Evelyn is just farming, she drops fairly low in the jungle. So if you don't see her gank any lanes, you should expect her to be jungling. And then she will never be on full HP. And you know she's going to be fairly squishy if she shows up. If she's recalled, well, that's perfect for you. If she comes in with 50% HP, you just engage on her with the Jarvan and kill her. Because there was no flash from the fight before from Diamond. And that's another reason for them being able to just take that Dragon. Because they hadn't seen Diamond in a while. And he's back to farming at the moment. Red buff is up for him.
It's pretty stylistic of Gambit, too, to not try to contest the early Dragons unless they know they can get them for free. H2K, on the other hand, you know, they're much more methodical, as we mentioned a lot in the pregame. They're much more by the book. And, you know, okay, oh, we're going to go for Dragon. If we see someone on top, we're going to go and just not necessarily go for the big plays, but what will secure us the objectives. Now, Pinoy, he could be in some trouble here, taking extremely low as he flashes, and he heals and hops. Oh, that was close for the little Yordle.
Stays alive, but this lane will be pushing. Diamond is here. He's fairly low on mana already. Once again, he's been back in that jungle. A lot of damage on the tower.
That's the question.
H2K at the moment is the proactive team.
Oh, he's spotted by the sapling.
Basically, H2K is the ones forcing these roams around or plays around the map. Is loulex going top lane to start the gank on Pinoy, force him back to base, so now this tower will go down, and there's no response from Gambit's side. They're the ones who've been sitting back in the lane. Let's see if they can do anything to Hjarnan, though.
Yep, he's trying to move away from all the skill shots. However, there's a teleport in the back. They know this is happening. Lantern immediately as Odoamne comes, the box is up. Here comes KaSing as well. Eddie is going to be in some trouble, but Cabochard's moving forward for Hjarnan. The heal is baited out. He takes a Zanya's Hourglass as the Tormented Soil expires and they collapse on him. Odoamne picking that kill.
So we have to remember, it's still Cabochard sitting in the bottom lane of the map with Eddie. So there's no TP advantage for Gambit to gain there. And because H2K set up that play in the top lane, got the tower for it, had teleport ready on Odoamne, sorry. It simply meant as soon as Gambit tried to force a fight on the bottom side, well, he's just going to teleport down behind you, like he did right here. Beautiful setup again by H2K. They're so good at using teleports, they're so good at knowing where to push and where to be with your team, so they just teleport down behind. Hjarnan wasn't caught out at all. Turn it around, get a kill, get a tower more. 3 auto turrets, first Dragon as well for them.
Yeah, and they
will be able to defend this one.
They're making their way back in time, and it's actually pinging this one out. I mean, as quick as Tristana can take down towers, you're not quite at that point yet with Pinoy, and he is going to have to back away from this one. Ryu is here, and Pinoy doesn't know where anyone else is, so he's going to take the rocket jump out immediately as he is joined by Eddie. Actually, he's not going to back away this time. They're going to go for a second win, but still, H2K, better rotation so far. It has netted them a 2.5 or about 2,000 gold lead, and the Dragon and 3 towers to none.
And what we didn't see in the mid lane, where the tower went down, it was again loulex showing up in the lane. He's been the active guy here in the early stages of this match. He's the guy saying, I'm going to push top lane. Okay, I'm going to roam up there now, get a gang on the AD carry, push it down. Okay, I'm going to go mid lane now because I know Tristana is again sitting in the top lane. I know there's a fight going on in the bottom lane, so I have information on at least 4 guys from Gambit. I can just walk straight into this lane. Ahri and Jarvan together is still a very strong 2-on-2 skirmish, so we can safely push it in. There's nothing Evelyn and Lulu can do as a response. to that. So that's why they can safely push in these lanes and just decide, okay, where do we want to get our turret? Right there. Perfect. Big goal lead for them now. Well, big. 2,000 gold. But still, so early in the game, 60 minutes in, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, and we're taking a breather here as we ascertain what the issue is. Looks like Ref standing behind Eddie. It looks like he does have a keyboard issue. So as we try to get that one resolved, yeah, 2,000 gold in the lead for H2K. A lot of that's off the back of the towers that they've got. Fairly low kill score. And again, this is just kind of H2K's style of rotating around the map and just trying to grab the objectives, be more focused like that. A bit like SK Gaming, but they're far less predictable in the way that they go about this. And Gambit, you know, they want to fight every angle you get. They want to flank and maybe try to get some assassinations on you, but they haven't been given those opportunities by H2K in this game. Right,
and they don't have the comp to do it either. They need more time for them to really start being impactful, because it's going to be so much about Tristana here for Pinoy. That's why they're keeping him in that top lane to just be on his own. If he can get to like level 9, first of all, so you got max rank on your E, basically means once you go to that tower, you do a lot more damage onto it, which is, this comp is built around being able to fast push down towers when you have Lulu Thresh peeling for Tristana. So they need more time before they can start making big plays on the side of Gambit, and H2K has been able to take advantage of it, especially through perfect teleports from Odoamne.
Exactly, exactly. So as we get back into this one, we've got a dragon about a minute away from spawning. H2K got that one quite easily last time. It's off the better rotation. Again, Gambit seems to be pretty top-heavy in this. Ryu, he's got his Spirit Rush available if he needs to get out of danger. They're not going to look at diving him right now. Edward just kind of oscillating between that mid and top side, but here come Diamond and Cabochard to push away the mini-wave.
And we have seen Cabochard change his build a little bit. Normally he likes that Abyssal first, but because there is no front line on the side of Gambit, then he has gone for Outlast first to at least be ready for any fights and being able to engage in as the first man, then followed by Evelyn after. See Diamond as well going for Locket for him. So we're going to get that AP tank-ish build coming from him.
Cabochard, he was caught for just a moment, but he throws down the slicing Maelstrom, and there is the Zani's Hourglass to avoid the Orb Deception, but Ryu will have a chance with the Charm of the Flash to move away from it, and here comes Diamond as Ryu got in some trouble. He's going to get smited for just a second, not enough damage on the hate spikes as he gets away.
It is moving in, though.
It's not over yet, Deficio.
It is over now.
Oh, now it is, okay.
Some big plays in that top lane. Flash from Cabochard to avoid the charm. And also Ryu staying alive and fighting in a 1v2. And what happens now that two guys have to go top lane, even 3 with Eddie, despite him not being spotted, I think, by H2K? Well, you invest so many resources and players now on one side of the map that you will always lose on the other side. And H2K is saying, fair enough, you want to fight 1 versus 2, you're not even getting a kill. We take a free dragon for ourselves, we push the bottom lane, we push the mid lane. There's just so much more control for them. Because Gambit at this point, in order to even get a kill, needs to use at least 2 players for it, and they didn't even manage to get it.
Yeah, they weren't able to pick it off, and there is the hook with the Black Shield once again as the blue buff gets taken away. Diamond not quite able to secure it. Looks like it goes over to loulex.
No real fights in the near future with that dragon going over to H2K side. That is good for Gambit though, because it does mean they can get closer to these 2 items, which they at least need on Tristana and the Kennen before they really want to start fighting. And then the more the better later on in the game. But with these 3 outer turrets down and the threat of their potential 5th dragon later, it suddenly becomes a bit tougher for them. Odoamne with the righteous law, he always likes to build it on Maokai. Use it to speed around, look for potential engages. Doesn't get anything this time, but Gambit did get the top tower. Wait, we've been pushing down. Some goal for them.
Yeah, they will get a little bit back, but they have to be careful. This mid tower now being fired on Hjarnan, Odoamne, Ryu. In the middle, the charm gets dodged away by Betsy. Diamond is actually moving around this side, but loulex is also there. It's going to be hard to set up the flank here. He does want to go for it. So far, we haven't seen too much out of this Evelyn, but again, the AP tanky build. Let's see if it helps.
Yeah, that's a bit of an annoying thing when playing against Evelyn is standard wards doesn't really do too much for you in terms of trying to spot a flank.
Have to invest in the pinks.
Exactly, you need those pink wards. They can be played fairly easily.
Now, though.
Diamond, there's a pink ward right here, so they can see him. They know exactly where he is, and that's why they can just push up on the tower. They see 4 guys defending, and they see the Evelyn on the side. No real threat for H2K in this case here. Another one, another tower for them. Gambit trying to prolong the game.
Trying indeed. Pinoy will take away that blue, or the red rather. A lot of wards invested, a lot of pink wards especially for both teams, but it really has been H2K's that have been keeping Diamond down. This time around, 0-0-1 is his scoreline in this matchup. Not exactly what we expect, what we've come to expect from him.
Well, that's true. He's been fantastic the last few weeks. He's been all over the place in terms of ganking, team fighting. We have seen a few times, though, where Diamond prefers the more farm-heavy style, especially when playing Tristana. But let's just see what happens mid lane here. They're engaging in.
Yep, Betsy is able to take the Lantern out. There's a hook on the other side, but it's not going to connect, and Edward takes the Dark Binding. It is a 4v5 in this middle, so Gambit don't want to fight it out as they have Cabochard pushing up top.
And that was TP blown, so now a small advantage for Gambit with the Kennen. Might be able to use that to create some side lane pressure for themselves. But as we just said here with Diamond, we've seen before where he prefers to farm early on when he plays the likes of Sejuani, and then he just focuses on becoming a fantastic tank and engage tool in the fights, which is something he's really good at. So good at timing. Okay, when can I engage? When should we fight? We'll have to do the same on Evelyn in this game for him. Going, as we said earlier, for that Locket. So mixing it up, a little bit of AP, and then somewhat tanky from there, becoming the only front line for Gambit.
Yeah, the unseen front line too. We'll see if it does work out for them. But for now, H2K still getting the better around the sides. They were able to clear the wave on the bottom and push it back just a little bit. Ryu's also in the top. Gambit trying 3-man strong in this middle, but Odoamne and KaSing are both there, and they're pushing the wave back pretty quickly. Pinoy's still not got nearly enough damage, but there is a flank being set up. We'll see if they can pull it off. They don't have the minion wave to do it just yet, but Cabochard and Diamond waiting the wings.
But that was just a few seconds for Pinoy, and suddenly the tower's down to 50%, and we're only 22 minutes in. This Tristana is only going to get better and better and taking them down. So if Gambit managed to get to that point where they're the ones who can group together, have the Lulu and Thresh to peel for Pinoy, then it's going to be so much about fast pushing in as a group, getting a few hits on a tower every single time they have the chance, and then just back away. Don't risk a massive engage coming from Maokai and Jarvan together. No, just sit there, get a few hits here, get a few hits on the tower itself, and play that game where you just take down objectives, get the global goals, and that's how you create your lead. My only worry is just, will they have enough damage in the potential team fight against a Maokai, which is going to stack obviously pure defensive from him. The Jarvan's going to do the same after this Warrior enchant. Those two guys in front, if it's only Pinoy to really take them down, seeing as we would expect Cabochard to be diving the backline of H2K, he might not be able to do it for Pinoy himself.
Oh, Edward goes really far for a moment, completes his windup, but he does get taken down. Here comes Cabochard with the Maelstrom in the side of H2K. Do they have the damage to finish a kill? They do. It's Diamond picking up loulex. Odoamne, oh so low. Here comes Pinoy, but he's getting chunked away. Cabochard manages to pick up a kill. It's a 2 for 2. The top and jungle for an AD carry and support, and a mid goes down as well. Betsy falling, a double kill for Hjarnan. Very close fight though, Deficio.
Yeah, H2K pushing their lead a little bit here, and then Eddie tried to make the play, only got the hook onto loulex, didn't really matter for him. He ended up dying, but then great ulti from Cabochard coming. Let's see once we get the replay. H2K are not done pushing. Still 3 guys. Fairly helpful for them, will be a tower as well.
Looks like that will be the case. It's taken down. The turret score now 5 towers, 2-1. Let's take a look at how that fight unfolded, however.
Right, so Eddie is trying to make the play. He wants to flash play onto Hjarnan here and hopefully catch him out. Misses that one, and then loulex. They got hooked, didn't matter. Cabochard though, 5-man Kennen ulti incoming. Beautiful setup from him. Pinoy is now safe in the backline because of the Kennen zoning with Diamond, of course, on the Evelyn. So that's a good setup now. They get the first kill and start chasing. Odoamne goes down, and then the problem is overextend. Pinoy jumps in, caught out. Betsy goes in, caught out as well. Quick turnaround from H2K.
Yeah, we'll have to change that up. The crab gets pulled in, but it's loulex who smites it down. H2K looking to reestablish the dragon control. That dragon is now live once again. It is 2-0 in favor of H2K. They can't clear out the vision once again. Edward and Diamond and Pinoy just trying to make something happen here. They've not got the speed up shrine, and they are going to cede some ground over as they need to clear away the minions from the middle. And Dragon's actually procced. H2K not wasting any time.
No, as soon as they see Betsy in the middle and they ping it, they start the dragon. Gambit has to basically regroup because you don't want Betsy to flank around on a Lulu. No, she needs to be with your carry. So as soon as he was out of position, Gambit were unable to take the fight. 3rd dragon, yeah, for H2K. It's normally Gambit we see get the early dragons and then have that 5th one as a potential way of winning later on. Not in this game. H2K, team controlling it Smart early game.
Yeah, they do tend to give it up when there's a team that's very strong about trying to contest it. So in this case, yeah, they're really not getting an opportunity to play the game the way that they want to do, and as a result, H2K, they find themselves up this lead at about 26 minutes in. And here we go. If they can catch loulex, that would be something, but he is going to be able to EQ combo his way to safety. They're still trying to keep some map control up top here, but they're not getting much for it.
Very surprised Hjarnan is going for Blade as his second item on Corki. That's normally what you do if you're against a massive tanky front line, and you know that your goal basically in team fights is just to take down these tanks. Let's see what happens here. Odoamne teleporting in.
There's the flank. He's going to get hit by the box. However, Edward is the one who's going oh so low. Betsy caught with the dark binding, and it's going to be Edward going down. Betsy in some trouble on the chase. The rest of H2K collapse around him, and another double kill goes over to Hjarnan, and like clockwork, they move back to mid. Actually, it looks like they might be heading for Baron.
Another great teleport, though, from Odoamne here on this Maokai. Gambit push up the mid lane. There was a ward behind them. Oh, Cabochard.
Oh, and he's caught up the combo. Ryu, can he pick the rest of it? They're going to connect at the very end, and Ryu, the last charge of the Spirit Rush. And now it's going to be Baron time. Can Diamond be the hero? He is oh so in danger right now from the rest of the team. I don't know how else to put it, but they're not even giving him an opportunity. KaSing zoning away. He's going to go around the long side. Pinoy is here as well. But this Baron, it looks like it's going down. That is going to be taken out by loulex. Diamond never had a chance for the steal, and a Baron picked up by H2K, but now it's time to fight. Can they pick a kill? Pinoy gets one, knocks back into the team for a double kill. Odoamne now in the front, but H2K have forsaken him as Pinoy rocket jumps his way forward. He's got his eyes set on a triple, and Eddie wants to give it to him. The flay, the twisted advance, one more shot, and Pinoy picks up another.
And that really is the Gambit we know right here. You lose the Baron. H2K is saying, okay, with 5 guys with Baron, we can easily just go top lane, catch that big wave coming in, and we can take a tower. And then suddenly you just realize Gambit is waiting with 3 guys. The only one's alive. And they simply just catch you out. 2 kills early for Pinoy. You got the last one as well. Not sure if you got all 3, but that was very, very important for them. Despite losing that Baron, which of course was terrible, they managed to at least secure some kills, get a tower. Pinoy suddenly gonna start looking scary on this Tristana.
Yeah, I mean, that was really something Gambit needed, but that is so textbook them, if you can even put what they do down on paper, because it's so hard to describe. H2K get caught, get outflanked. They lose 3 members in that after securing the Baron, and now they've only got 2 more to work with to try to push these side lanes, so they're still in the lead, very much so. However, Gambit has some options.
For sure. Last Whisper completed now. BET coming in next from Pinoy as well. And once he completes that one, he has enough AD for his E to really blow up these towers. So just need a bit more time on the side of Gambit.
Well, they're certainly getting it right now.
They're getting it now, especially with those kills. They managed to stop the big wave as well.
Also, look at the way Diamond has been involved. Yeah, 100% of those kills he has been a part of. Even if he's only secured 1 for himself, that's perfectly fine. He can play the jungle role in multiple ways, and look at this flank right now. Oh, they throw down the Tormented Soil. That will reveal him, but now, does he have enough damage? No, not nearly to do anything to anyone. The rest of Gambit was not there just yet. Odoamne, though, is looking to start the fight. The box is down. Edward's going to flash away. Cabochard zoning away the rest of the team. They're looking to pick off Odoamne, but Rio coming to the rescue. There is going to be the Zanya's Hourglass. loulex catching the rest of the members off guard. loulex going so low, but not going down. Pinoy hopping, but he's not going to be able to get away as he was caught on the dark binding. A shutdown going over to Ryu. It's at 3-4-0, and H2K Thunder back after that.
loulex is pretty good at this game. EQ combos, and then he flashes after to get the knock-up, and 2 guys from Gambit ulted him after as well, locked them in. And you saw how they played this fight. As soon as the ulti was popped from Cabochard, everyone just backed away. Backed away from the ulti, ran out, then they re-engaged in. Obviously, we're waiting for Ryu as well, coming from that top lane. Gambit trying to make a play because there was only 4 guys from H2K. Didn't work. So let's see what Diamond can do. Still 100% kill participation. He's been good in terms of the fighting, but the problem has been the lack of pressure early on from Gambit, which has allowed H2K to take down all these outer turrets so early. loulex was just going to walk into the lane, pushed him down for himself and whatever laner he was assisting. Let's see if Diamond can get a kill, though.
Yeah, loulex is a little bit low. He's got to know something's up because there is a lot of chase coming from Betsy. Oh, they may not even need it. Here we go. Here comes Diamond as he's revealed. Betsy's going to get the kill. The hate spike's helping out. Now they look for Hjarnan. He's turned into a cupcake, and he is going to Valkyrie his way to safety. But those double buffs looking tasty. The charm. Diamond is caught. The damage is so real, and Ryu trying to make the play. Oh, he's caught, though, and they should be able to dish more damage back. But now they're looking for Betsy. In comes Pinoy, just like clockwork. Eddie's so low, but he's staying alive. Ryu going down. What is going on? This is the craziest skirmish we've seen in a while. And here comes Pinoy. Odoamne, twisted advance, back onto him, and it just keeps going. Do they have the damage to take him out? Yes, they do. Pinoy. Kaboom, man. That's all you can say.
This is just, again, the Gambit style. Yeah, you fall behind. Who cares? Let's just keep walking in and look for fights. There was a pick onto loulex first, and then everyone just joined. More kills for Gambit, 4 now for Pinoy. Betsy managed to get 2 for himself. They are trying to stay in this game, simply by keep taking fights that normally a team would never take. And but Gambit makes it work.
Yeah, now let's see if they can secure this dragon up. It's going to be a close one. It's actually stolen away by loulex. So the dragon they had a chance to pick up, H2K manages to grab it back. That is their number 4. Even so, it's so hard to call this one. Let's take a look back at the base. The minions are starting to wreck it, but Gambit, they're taking their time to get back and defend.
And that's the thing. Despite Gambit making some good plays in terms of these fights, they still fallen so far behind on the map itself that H2K can't afford giving up a few kills. They still have the pressure. And then, of course, that steal on the dragon was so important. Let's see it again. Gambit are basically saying, we need some kills here. We're going to chase you. They find loulex first. Hjarnan, next one. 3 guys now from Gambit. You can see Pinoy and Cabochard on your minimap. They're going to walk down as well and join it. And it just becomes this extremely hard to predict game where random fights will appear left and right. Sick hook from Eddie. Cat Ryu. Cupcake after as well. We don't even need to see the rest. People just die.
Yeah, everyone just blew up at the end of all that. So H2K in the aftermath, they're trying to push 5 strong up the top side, but Pinoy is here. He's got the wave clear. The hook's going to connect on Ryu. Once again, the black shield comes too late as Pinoy avoids the charm. Gambit have mobilized the defense. They've got nothing in the middle, I should say. The super minions were pushing up after that last fight, and all H2K had to do is wait for someone to wander into a bad position. Eddie throwing down a ward as he dodges a dark binding. Here we go, Tormented Soil. Pinoy there for the defense, but does he have enough damage? Diamond coming around for the flank. They've got to know what's happening here. There's one pink, but it's not in the right lane or the right part of the jungle. No, he's not spotted yet. Ryu is moving. This is such a precarious situation.
There's no flash for Cabochard, so it's hard for him to follow Diamond onto the back line itself. Even if Diamond gets a good flank here, they need that flash ready for Cabochard. Otherwise, H2K can start backing away again once the Kennen ulti gets popped.
All they have to do is wait for just a moment. Oh, and maybe not, because Edward is going to wander too far forward, sticks his nose out, gets charmed, and taken down another tower. They look for the inhib. Gambit, they want to answer back, but it's going to be so hard in this 4v5. Inhibitor number 2 now. It looks like it's going down, courtesy of Hjarnan and the rest of H2K, and they back out happy.
Big plays by Ryu. We've seen it a few times already whenever he plays his Ahri. He's not afraid to just dash over the walls, land that charm in the late game. Really paying off for him. And yeah, Baron, 10 seconds. Remember that next dragon as well. It's going to be number 5. So if they get a Baron now...
Gambit can't afford to defend this. They're moving away from their base, but there's minions pushing in. Up in the top side, the supers are starting to spawn now. I mean, they do have to do something, but it's still a 5v4 until Edward arrives, and even then, H2K, they can take their time about this. They have time on their side with 2 inhibitors down.
Just wait. Don't start it. Set up wards around it and just sit there. Have the super minions do all the work. Wait till like Cabochard goes back to try and defend. He might not even be able to hold it on his own against 2 lanes of super minions. And you just play patient. You don't need to risk Diamond stealing that Baron away from you, or you being caught in the Baron pit itself into like a Kennen ulti and a Evelyn ulti, and then Pinoy cleans up the whole thing, gets a pentakill, becomes the hero of the game.
Okay, so it looks like they both decided to not play the game of chicken. H2K, they back away. That signals the chance for Gambit to back away to defend. They've got Cabochard up on the top. They've got an inhibitor back in the middle as a just respawn, so they have a little bit of breathing room if they can push the wave out in top to be able to control the Baron side. However, they're still in some dire straits here. They're down about 8,000 gold. On the other hand, they're still winning some fights, so if they don't get caught out, I mean, that whole thing was enabled by Eddie basically just getting picked off by Ryu. If that doesn't happen again, Gambit are still looking like a force to be reckoned with, but here comes H2K again trying to clear out the vision and keep it their own on the side of the Baron.
Gambit can still win fights for sure, but keep in mind every time they have been able to pick up kills, it's been where they were chasing H2K, they managed to split up the whole thing and kind of single them out, and that's how they got the kills in a straight up 5-on-5. I think Gambit is still too far behind, and their comp doesn't allow them to deal with this massive Maokai jumping in onto the likes of Pinoy and shut it down. Unless, again, they can catch someone out. We're going to have to see. Baron is started out by H2K. Cabochard is sitting in the top lane farming. They're going to see him teleport because the minions keep going in. He's backing away here. Let's see what he can do. He has home guards. He wants to proc that home guard first. Not in time. Baron is down.
Yeah, Baron is down. They don't attempt to contest it in that case. They do see it does go. It will have the timer available. Dragon's another minute and a half away, however. Gambit have lost a good portion of map control after the fact, and 4 members of H2K are pushing up the middle. 5, excuse me.
All 5 here. Again, you have one lane with pressure already. You don't really care about the bottom lane at this point because you know this mid lane is your goal. There's no pink wards from H2K, so they won't be able to spot Diamond unless they had one place before. They did. They pinged him out, so they know he's there. They had one down in the bush near the Raptor. So nice little setup for them. Really been good at spotting the flank every single time. Not
he hasn't been able to do what he wants.
Come in.
I mean, still great in the kill participation when they do get the fights that they want, but they've just not been able to do much. The inhibitor, it goes in again. I feel like Gambit are running out of time here with these Baron-empowered minions pushing up the middle. They've once again lost their mid inhibitor. Diamond's still looking for a flank, but H2K aren't giving it to him.
No, we know Dragon is going to be the target. 30 seconds. No pinks around that one, so this should give an opening for Diamond to get the right engage. Flash is ready for Cabochard as well, so he can join in. Flash ulti, Hourglass. I think that's why we're going to see KaSing recall and get a pink ward for himself. There we go, 2 already picked up, Ryu and him, so now they can return back to this Dragon, set it up properly, not risk any steals from this Evelyn. No, you want that 5th one. Then you go bottom lane, you take the last lane, and you should be able to close out the game.
If they can grab that 5th, it will be very important to them. 6 seconds, and Gambit not really looking to contest. Oh, blue trinket is popped here. Diamond is going to run away. Oh, he's running back in, actually. Now the Dragon is procced. If he can pull the steal, that would be very, very important.
Have to force Diamond away. Don't
in the process,
take the risk.
Though. Yeah, this is dangerous. He's wandering. Oh, it's going down. Nope. That is Drake number 5. Gambit wasn't able to get involved in. The rest of them were just pushing away at the minions that are now occupying the top and the middle waves. But everyone from H2K looking to take out that last remaining inhibitor and finish this game textbook fashion. Let's see if they can do it. That tower, it's going down oh so quick. Gambit is in some trouble. 10,000 gold down at 38 minutes. Can they play the hero? Here we go. Cabochard finding Odoamne. loulex is found by Diamond, but they're getting chunked out by the rocket damage from the Corki. In comes loulex, exhausted immediately, jumps in for a second win. Odoamne picks Pinoy. Gambit, they're falling apart. H2K, they're chasing them all the way back to the fountain. Betsy just barely staying alive as Ryu is able to push them back. One Nexus turret goes down, the other one's gonna follow, and it looks like H2K, they've done it. They've snapped Gambit Gaming's win streak. They've taken them out and extend their own to 7 in a row. GG, well played as the Nexus falls.
Smiles all around for H2K, of course. Fantastic game from them, honestly. Early game, the teleports from Odoamne were great. They knew exactly what Gambit were doing. They got these early outer turrets. They got all the dragons, all the barons. And overall, textbook game from H2K. They know exactly which objectives to focus, when to push, how to push. We did see Gambit try. Had some of these guerrilla warfare team fights where they like chase you around. Oh, KaSing getting blocked by the camera.
Oh yeah. No, I mean they got to be happy with that. So few mistakes, and the ones that they did, the fights that they did lose, you can't really chalk that up to anything but just Gambit had the element of surprise.
Yes,
but exactly. They were able to completely shut down the Evelyn where it counted when they were trying to push. You see Diamond just a little pensive after that game. They tried something out. I mean, credit to him, the scientific process. Not every jungler you try is going to work, but he's certainly running the gamut.
Right, so I mean, for Diamond here, 100% kill participation, 2 kills, 8 assists, 10 kills total for Gambit. So you can't really fault him for his mid to late game performance, but Evelyn just doesn't offer you that much early on. And that was the problem for Gambit here. It had a fairly weak early game setup, especially with the Tristana as well, who needs more time So when you have a jungler who couldn't really apply too much pressure to the lanes, you have an AD carry who needs time to scale up. You have a Kennen as well who needs an hourglass before he really starts becoming a factor in team fights or in fights in general. That simply allowed H2K to do whatever they wanted to early on. It allowed them to take loulex and say, where do we want to push down the first out of the turret? Okay, top, you go top lane now, push it in. You know that Evelyn won't be able to respond to you because she's currently farming the jungle. She drops too low from it. We are safe. First tower, second tower, third tower went down. And that was how they got the goal lead and used that really to simply take all the objectives after all the dragons, all the barons, or all the barons, two of them, but all the
they're
dragons.
Constantly set up, too. I mean,
exactly.
There was no way that Gambit could get involved in it. They gave too many away too early, which, I mean, that is kind of the style that Gambit's been, okay, we're going to back off if we can't take it cleanly. And H2K, knowing this, just went ahead and grabbed what they wanted. So, you know, they grabbed that win as well. So for a closer look at that win, the 7th straight